Hi friends, today I wanted to do a video on how I make seed tape. Now seed tape is something that I make for very tiny seeds. Partly the reason I do this is because I like to be really thrifty and I don't want to just, with my hands go across the ground dropping seed, because sometimes with the really tiny seeds, these are carrot seeds, and I don't know if you're going to be able to tell from here how tiny they are. I don't think it's focusing very well, but they are very tiny seeds. So when you're dropping them onto the ground, sometimes you drop 2, 3. And the normal carrot seeds are probably okay, but some of these are varieties that are not easy to get. Like this happens to be a variety called, let me see if I can get this. Okay. It's a cosmic purple carrot. So hopefully that name is coming across. But these are varieties that maybe are not, easily accessible. The normal orange looking carrots that everybody sells, I think these seeds are pretty accessible and relatively cheap. But any varieties that are unusual, like here's another one that I'm going to be planting, atomic red carrots, these tend to be more pricey. I did get this actually for like 75% off at the end of the season. I did a video on that too. So these were not that expensive, but still they're a variety that I'm like, I want to make the most of them, because who knows if I'm going to get them on sale next year. So basically I take these and I want to put them in what's called a seed tape. And to make a seed tape, you basically need just a couple things. You need obviously the seeds. You need a roll of toilet paper, and this happens to be 2-ply paper. So we're going to actually separate this into just 1-ply if I can. If I'm not able to, then we'll be using the 2-ply tape. 2-ply toilet paper. The other thing you will need is some flour. This is basically just all-purpose flour. I'm going to put water in this flour and turn it into a paste. I kind of am going for like a pancake batter consistency, so not a thick paste, but more like a pourable consistency. And I put 2 tablespoons in here, but honestly it just depends on how much seed tape you're planning on making. If you're making very little, 1 tablespoon might be just enough. But I will go ahead and show you. I add the water, and if you add too much water, you can always add more flour. So I'm just going to add some water. I'm just eyeballing this. There's no hard and fast rules on this, and I'm just mixing it. So now I think it's like pancake batter consistency. At least it's my pancake batter consistency, which totally off topic, but I love the Pioneer Woman's recipe for pancake batter. I never buy pancake mix in a box. I always just make her recipe. I always have to cut it in half because it makes so many pancakes, but she has the best. She has 2 recipes on her website. One has sour cream, and it's not that one, it's the other one. I think it's called the Perfect Pancake. And if you're looking for a pancake recipe, that is amazing. So I've gotten this down to a pancake batter consistency. The next thing I do is get some toilet paper, and I'm going to start with a very small area. Honestly, you could make this as long as you want. And this is 2-ply toilet paper, though I might have a terrible time separating it. And honestly, if you can't separate it like I'm struggling to, you could just use this as 2-ply. I was just trying to be even more cheap and, And technically, that's not something I thought about earlier, but... Okay, so I am struggling to get this thing separated, but if you can get it separated easily, then more power to you. What I'm going to do is, you honestly don't even need a whole sheet of toilet paper, so I am going to cut this thing in half. And obviously if you get it separated, it's even better, but this is not an exact science. And so what I normally do is I have this toilet paper here, and I'm going to take out a couple of the seeds so I can easily access them, and I'm just going to put them on my table. Let me move it so you can see it a little better. So I'm going to put the seeds on my table, and they are tiny. These are the Cosmic Purple. Now I will tell you, I am no expert carrot grower. You do need to have very good soil that's soft, otherwise the carrots will come out deformed or they won't grow very well at all. But I have grown some, and generally I have more luck with these ones. These are called Danvers Half Long, and they're smaller carrots. So I tend to have better luck with these. They're also called Danvers 126. So Danvers 126 and Danvers half long are the same carrot. I normally plant 2 carrots per area because if one doesn't sprout, if one seed doesn't sprout, then that way I can at least, you know, and I space them out. So I'm just doing this for an example. I actually got some extra pancake batter or flour there, but basically you're dropping the 2 seeds onto the toilet paper, and so these will hopefully germinate. Like I said, if one doesn't germinate, the other will germinate, and I normally just fold them over, and this flour will basically hold them in place, and then I let them dry. I basically just leave them on the kitchen counter, table, wherever, until the flour dries. And then I'll usually write on the side, like if I'm growing multiple varieties of carrots, like in this case I'm trying to, I will write the name on the tape. And so you can make this obviously in any length that you want. Like my beds, my raised beds are probably like 3.5, almost 4 feet wide. So I could technically make 4 feet long tape. But it really doesn't matter, because honestly, if you run across an area and you just have one little area that you want to plant a carrot, you can just cut this tape in half, plop it wherever you want. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm all about being frugal. So I feel like this is a real frugal way of not wasting seeds. Even though I got these seeds, you know, a lot of cases I got them for very little money. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to get the maximum out of these seeds. And seeds, even though their date has expired, like they all have dates at the end of the packages. Let me show you one of these. Because the government does not allow them to sell. Yeah, see, it says on here that it's packed for, I hope you can read this because I know it's kind of hard for it to focus, but it says on here that it was packed for 2023, and the seed companies cannot sell this in 2024. That's why a lot of times I get these discounted at the end of the season. I'm looking for seed companies that are basically getting rid of any of their old seeds, and these seeds can be good for years. I had a friend who gave me seeds that were 20 some years old, and I planted some of them. I gave some of them to my neighbors, and they got lettuce to grow that was like 20 years old. So that does not mean these seeds are no longer good. It's just unfortunately the government is saying you can't sell these because the germination rates do tend to decline. So maybe the germination rate in the beginning was 80%, and when you plant it, it's 50%. I'll take my chances. Maybe the 50-50 on here, one seed will sprout and one won't. So this is just one way that I go about, you know, making sure that I'm not wasting the seeds, even though, like I said, I feel like seeds are relatively inexpensive, but why waste it? So this is one process that I do to get my carrot seed started. Now carrots tend to like the soil to be moist, and so what I normally do, I've seen a lot of videos, people will put this. So now one thing I did want to mention, you do actually have to dig a trench, a very shallow little trench, and then you put the tape in there and you cover it with the soil, whatever soil that you're using in your raised bed, or even if you're growing this in a grow bag, just cover up lightly with soil, not too heavy, because otherwise the carrots will not be able to sprout through the soil. So I put it in there, and then they tend to like moist soil. So what a lot of people do is I've read this, and I'm actually going to do something a little different this year, but they put a piece of board above the area where they planted the carrots. And you should also press down where you planted the carrots so that they get in contact with the soil. So you want to get them in the soil, cover them with dirt, and then press down on that area so that the carrot seeds are in contact with the soil. And then after that, a lot of people will put like a board on top of it. So if you're planting like a 4-foot row, put a 4-foot board on top of it, and they leave that board and they'll check it every couple of days. And when you see signs of that carrot seed sprouting, then you remove the board, because carrots for some reason, they like moist soil to sprout, and they tend to take a long time. They can take up to 10-15 days sometimes to sprout. But I've noticed if you put the board on top, they tend to be a lot faster. The problem is I don't have enough boards to cover up all the rows of carrots that I'll be planting. So what I've decided to do, and I don't know if it's going to work, but I've decided to put a tarp over the whole area. I'm going to tap it down, make sure that the soil is in contact with the seed tape, and then I'm going to put a tarp over it. After I water it, I'll put the tarp over it, and then I'll just keep checking every couple days. And once I see signs of the seed sprouting, I'm going to remove the tarp. So I'm not sure that's going to work, but the method I've seen and I've actually used is the one with a board. I just don't have enough boards for that. So that's just a couple tips on planting carrots, and I hope you will try this in your garden. I actually think carrots grown from your garden taste so much better than carrots from the store. And I like the idea of growing different color carrots. You know, they tell you that food that has like colors, like reds and just bright colors, tend to be really good. They have cancer fighting properties. I'm no doctor, but that's what I've read. And so this is definitely a carrot that I'm excited to grow. And actually my mom tells me that this is what carrots look like back in Pakistan. So I'm excited to see if any of them grow. And I'm going to be very miserly with my seeds because I don't have that many of them and I really want to grow red carrots. So I'm hopeful that this year will be a successful year for me. I'm going to try to grow almost a whole, at least 3/4 of a bed of carrots on my 4x8 beds. So we'll see how many sprout. These are the ones I've had the best luck with, these Danvers Half Long or Danvers 126. But I'm going to try other varieties and see what happens. And I hope you will try this in your garden. These are just my tips on how I save money and how I try to grow as much as my own food as possible. I enjoy it for one thing, and then it's just such a satisfaction. Like honestly, on Thanksgiving, I made a pumpkin roll, and I made it out of pumpkin that I grew, and it was just no joy like, you know, having grown everything. And the onions that we used in all our cooking was from onions from my garden. So it's just I don't know, it's something I enjoy. And if you enjoy gardening, this is definitely an easier way to save some money and not waste your seed. And because if you're just, you know, dropping them over the dirt, you will drop multiple seeds. And then of course, if 2 of these sprout, you can always thin them out and thin it down to the healthier of the 2 plants, because you don't want the carrots too close together. But anyway, I hope you will give this a try in your garden, and please comment below if you have any carrot growing tips, anything that you've successfully done, because like I said, I'm no expert on carrots or anything, and honestly in gardening we just all learn from each other, and everybody has different experiences, and different things tend to grow in different areas and do well in different areas. So please drop any of your comments below. If you like this video and you learned something, I ask that you please press the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.